Well, joining me now is Shadow Treasurer Angus Taylor from Canberra. Thanks for your time. Let's start with this accusation from Prime Minister Anthony Albanese in Question Time today.
The Shadow Treasurer said, we've been supportive of that all the way along. You couldn't make it up. You couldn't make it up, Mr Speaker. And then he said, as you know, we've always supported that.
Mr Taylor, would you like to respond to that accusation from Anthony Albanese of changing your mind, of flip-flopping on the energy price cap?
Well, we didn't. We've always been very clear on this. He's failing to separate two different things. One is the energy price relief, which we always supported, and the second is the price caps, which we always opposed. They decided to put those two things together in the one piece of legislation. These are the kind of political games that Albanese plays. He's all politics, no economics. I mean, he's really not interested in the inflationary pressures that Australians are facing right now. He's interested in his own political world, which is all he's lived in all his career. He's never worked in business or outside of the political domain.
Well,
so you'd expect him to behave this way. But what he's done is they put two pieces of legislation together and forced us to vote on both of them together. Now, the truth is, we have always supported the direct energy price relief. The reason being is that Labor made a commitment. They've failed to deliver on that commitment of a $275 price reduction.
Yeah.
We're going to see an average household with a $500 increase in their bills, Sharri, and so they needed to do something about it.
So just to be clear, you do support the $500 energy relief. You support the relief to people on job seeker and on single parent payments?
No, we support the energy relief, Sharri. So
but do you support the other payments?
Well, hang on, let me finish. You asked me a question, I'll answer it. We always supported that. We were very clear on that from the start. What we weren't ever going to support is heavy-handed intervention on these price caps, which are simply going to result in supply of gas disappearing over time, failure to invest in gas, and so we will never support that. Now, look,
we've just got so much to get through tonight, so I just want to keep going.
It's important.
And you've explained it. So there is a $14 billion cost of living package in this budget, which includes job seeker, the single parent payments, the energy bill relief. Do you support giving help to the most vulnerable in the community?
Well, Sharri, the best help you can give to the most vulnerable in the community right now is the same help you can give everybody right now, all across Australia, which is take pressure off inflation. I mean, what we needed...
So you think the way to help the most vulnerable people would be not to give them those payments?
No, Sharri, what I am telling you is the principles we work to. We'll work through each of the individual initiatives over time, and we'll have an appropriate response at the time. We've had these budget papers for about a day so far, and there's $185 billion of spending that wasn't there when we left government, and we've got to work through every line item of that and come to a view on it. But I'm telling you what the principle is. The principle is simple. You know what? If you want to help people in an inflationary environment, you can help absolutely everybody in Australia by taking pressure off inflation. That helps the most vulnerable right through, and everybody is better off. Now, that's the budget we wanted. This is the budget we hope to see. It is not what this budget is.
Okay. There has been a lot of attacks from you and Peter Dutton in the opposition today that the budget is too inflationary. I've also interviewed economists who agree with you as well tonight on the show. But at the same time, you've been arguing for more support for Middle Australia. You can't have it both ways, can you, Mr Taylor? You can't be asking the government to give more support, more money for the average family at the same time as demanding there's less spending to stop inflation from growing.
Well, that's verballing our position again, Sharri. So let me be very clear on what our position is. The best way to support Middle Australia and all Australians is to take pressure off inflation, not handouts. Australians prefer not to have handouts. They prefer to be in a position where they can get ahead under their own steam.
So it sounds like you will be disagreeing. I know you said you'll go through each individual measure, but it sounds like you will be disagreeing with the changing the single parenting payment so that the youngest child's 14 and the increase to job seeker. It sounds like you're saying the best way to help these people is just not to spend the money.
You know, I've already answered that question. We'll work through each one of those initiatives in an appropriate way. What I am saying, though, is the starting point here should be fight inflation first. Fight Labor's inflation, the Canberra inflation. That's not coming from the Kremlin anymore. This is not Vladimir Putin's inflation. This is Anthony Albanese's inflation. And you fight it with a budget that is sensible, that is prudent, that makes ends meet, not over just 1 year, but right across the four. No, well, hang on. You asked the question, I'll answer it. And that is how you make sure that everyone is better off, right across. Now, that's not what this budget was. This budget is inflationary, $185 billion of extra spending in it, and $2 of extra spending for every extra dollar of revenue.
That was saved.
That will be inflationary. That will be inflationary, and that will hurt many Australians. And that is what we are. That's what we're opposing here. We want to see a low inflation environment where all Australians are better off.
There has been some spending restraint, though, in the budget. 82% of the revenue boost has been banked. The Treasurer says that under the coalition, only 40% was banked. You've accused the Prime Minister of playing politics, but doesn't this show responsible spending?
Well, that makes no sense. I mean, those numbers aren't even right. They're spending an extra $185 billion over the years of the budget.
Well, the Treasurer has said that 82% of the new revenue that's come through has been banked, and that's how he was able to produce a surplus.
I'm not going to get technical about how he makes up those numbers, but the truth of the matter is he's spending $185 billion, and for every $1 of extra revenue, he's spending $2. Now,
but you don't give him credit for the surplus.
Well, hang on. There's two different questions here. One is about the Treasurer's crazy numbers. They make no sense. He's adding $185 billion of spending. That's inflationary, and you'll hear many economists say it's inflationary, including Chris Richardson, who was
I just had him on the show saying that exact thing. Yeah. Look, I want to ask you about there's $2 billion for hydrogen in the budget. Should the government be subsidising the private sector in this way? Is this not a case of, the government saying it's helping the most vulnerable in the community, but then giving a billionaire like Twiggy Forrest, who's been arguing for hydrogen subsidies, $2 billion if he gets that, wins that bid?
Yeah, it's a good question, Sharri, and I don't know enough about what's proposed here. It's very vague. There's very little in the budget to understand about this. I mean, we all want to see sensible technologies being deployed in the economy, but if it's all about a big handout from government, then that's not the right way forward. So there's a lot of questions to answer on this one. I certainly don't have the answers to those questions, but we will be asking them.
Yeah. All right, Angus Taylor, Shadow Treasurer, thank you very much for your time today. And I apologise for interrupting. Viewers get very upset when I interrupt, but I know if you let a politician answer a question, they talk for 5 minutes and then you do not get all those topics in. And we have covered inflation throughout the entire show tonight. I don't think anyone could cover inflation more thoroughly.